we are back with the next Finnigan 40k Fight Force 4. Last battle we saw the Tyranid knock the Cadian Kazarkin off of the hill. So currently the Tyranid are at the top, and as you saw, the force coming in to take them on are the Ultramarines. So the points for that as well was at the start, but the Tyranid are still coming in at 395, and the Ultramarines are coming in at 350. Which is quite a bit lower, but just the way that I've built them, there wasn't any extra models or points I could put in there. And that 40 points is almost the worth of like a Cadian shock troop section. So we'll see how it goes. But as always, we're going to roll our dice. So it is going to be purple again for the Tyranid. It is going to be red this time for the Ultramarines, our boys in blue. The guests are going to be able to roll first. So let's see how they do. They got a 1, not a good start. Here's the Tyranid. Also a 1, so we got a bit of a showdown. Back to the Ultramarines. 2, ooh, and a 4 from the Tyranid. So the Tyranid will be setting up on the field first. They will also get the first move, and if there is anything in range for shoots, they will also be able to do that. So the entire first phase is going over to our winners, the Tyranid, and we'll see if these Ultramarines can knock them off the hill. So we have the forces set up. Tyranid won that roll, and they have taken this side of the table. A lot of cover here for the 20 Termagants. We have the Von Rein's Leapers and the Winged Tyranid Prime on the right flank with a bit of coverage as well. They're going to need cover along the whole table because they do not have range attacks. And then the Trigon is hiding behind the tower here, so a bit of cover there as well. This is going to be a really good fight. I'll show you guys the Ultramarine setup over here. So I wanted to stick with a very kind of, I don't want to say vanilla, but a very Codex-oriented Ultramarines army, because I've got a ton of other chapters that are going to be taking part that are a little bit more lore-specific, like we saw the Blood Angels in the first battle, and they had some Sanguinary Guard, Death Company. And this is kind of a throwback as well, as I said during the last fight, to the 4th edition, the Battle of Macragge, or Macragge, which was Tyranid versus Ultramarines, and there was the downed pilot, and just a really, really cool starter set. I actually never got that one, but I definitely knew about it and wanted to get some. So maybe in time, if I ever see it on like Monster Merchants or somewhere else, I might grab it. But the Ultramarines are made up of 2 Intercessor Squads. We have a Hellblaster Squad led by a captain with Relic Shield. So that shield is giving him 6 wounds. This is a very good ranged army with some pretty good strength. Tons of attacks are made coming down from fire. These guys do not have to worry about that Nurgle's Gift contagion, so they're going to be firing on all cylinders the whole game with no penalties, which is going to be fantastic. The only thing that they may not be up to doing other than their captain is hand-to-hand combat. So I wanted to put in a strong hand-to-hand combat model, and that's why I did choose the captain with Relic Shield. The Intercessors aren't bad. They're kind of like the Mario of Mario Kart. Very average force, good at everything, pretty good toughness at 4, 3+ save, which is phenomenal. So they're probably going to hold in here a little better than the Cadian did, but we'll see. Very excited to get this one started. It is going to go back over to the Tyranid, however, so they're going to be able to do their move, and then if anything is in range, as I said, they'll be able to shoot first. Don't think that's going to happen for the first little bit unless some people can get lines of sight. But this Tyranid army is also very well put together. They've got some very fast models, really good in hand-to-hand combat. The Flesh Borers are actually perfect Space Marine killers with that Strength 5. And then the Trigon is going to be beast in hand-to-hand combat, so we're going to need to get a lot of Marines around it. The plus is, though, as I learned last battle, it does not have an invulnerable save, so that's going to help the Ultramarines, and if they can just continue to fire, get good rolls, get that AP going against, not great Tyranid saves, I'm hoping we can take this one with the Ultramarines, but if not, the Tyranid will remain at the top of the hill, and they'll have to face another Allied or Xenos force to see if they can knock them off. So let's get this one started. It is Tyranid versus Ultramarines, Finnigan 40k, Fight Force 4. Here we go. Okay, so we did moves for both sides. Just going to sum that up. No one is in range currently, but those bolt rifles do have a 24-inch range, so the Tyranid, if they're not careful, will be in range very soon. The Winged Tyranid Prime moved its full 12 inches, so a bit ahead of the Von Rein's Leapers there by about 2. The Von Rein's Leapers moved their full 10, had to make it around a corner though, so they are all in a group still. and the Tyranid winged prime is leading them. Here we have our Termagant wall. They were able to move up into cover behind the Nakmund terrain, so that's good for them. I'm going to just swing this around here. And the Trigon is trying to hide behind a tree. The poor thing, it's huge. It's going to be the Tyranid's bullet magnet. That's kind of my plan for it. So it's going to literally go right out into the center of the field. Has a very high toughness. Those bolt rifles do not have the greatest strength. They're not too bad, but compared to this, there's no heavy las cannons or anything this time that have a crazy, strength to be able to penetrate. So we'll see how that goes. And then over here, our Ultramarines moved in. So our first Intercessor Squad on the right moved up into cover here behind the Prometheum tanks. They're going to try to keep that range and start to plink away at the Trigon if they get that in range soon. The Relic Shield Captain is leading the Hellblasters. They're going to be taking position up on the radio building here. And I want my Relic Captain to kind of be their bodyguard almost, to allow those Hellblasters to fire in, because the Hellblasters plasma guns there have a lot higher strength, and that's probably what's going to be doing the damage most to the Trigon. And then our final Intercessor Squad here, that's going to be dealing with the Von Rhein's Leapers, and most likely the winged Tyranid Prime have moved up here, also have a bit of cover around the tree and the wall. And the 24-inch range, if both of these forces move ahead again, they're going to be able to fire at the winged Tyranid Prime. So as a Tyranid player, when I'm on their side, I'm going to have to think very strategically in regards to getting them into cover so they can pounce out and do hand-to-hand combat where they are best. So I'm going to move back here. It's going to be the move again for the Tyranid. Then I'll switch over to the Ultramarines. If there is a shoot necessary in there from either side, I'll do it. Going to try to stay out of the tray until we get a little bit deeper into this one. So we'll do a lot of rolling off camera, kind of sum everything up there if a shoot happens, and any big dramatic rolls, hand-to-hand combat, last person in the squad or last creature in the squad, do that kind of stuff in the tray. But over to the Tyranid again, and we'll finish their move, and I'll come back and show you guys what both forces have done. All right, so another Tyranid move is done. They have moved up. That wall of Termagants has been able to scale the wall, and they're down on the other side. The Trigon has moved in behind the fuel tower, and it is pretty much completely covered except for its scything talons there at the top. The Von Rhein's Leapers and the Winged Tyranid Prime have moved in behind cover. They are, however, in line of sight from the Hellblasters, who are right here. And I'll show you guys from their angle as well. There is going to be the benefit of cover here for the Tyranid behind that wall, but they are going to be shot at this turn, and there are no current Tyranid models in range. The flesh borers are firing right about here right now, so as the Ultramarines move up, they are going to be in range, but for now they are not. So our Intercessor Squad here tucked in against the wall. They're hidden behind that Prometheum tank for really good cover. They're going to fly out there if the Tyranid Prime decides to come out of cover. The Hellblasters, as we saw from the other angle, are going to be able to fire down into the Winged Tyranid Prime and the Von Rhein's Leapers, but they are going to get benefit of cover there. And then the last Intercessor Squad moved up over here, and they are going to be awaiting the Termagants, who are coming down that corridor, and the Trigon as well, who is hidden behind the tower. So it's pretty good. You can't really see the Trigon. He's well hidden for a big model. So over to the dice tray, I'm going to roll the Hellblasters off camera and show you guys what has happened to the Winged Tyranid Prime and his Von Rhein's Leapers. You know what? It's the first roll of the game. I thought I'd get it on camera here. The Hellblasters firing into the Winged Tyranid Prime. I also moved my camera a little bit. I saw last time that my arms were kind of blocking a lot of the rolls, so I'm hoping this will be a little bit of a better angle for that. So the Plasma Incinerators are 2 attacks apiece. They are strength 7, -2 to AP with 1 damage. They have a heavy ability, so that would give them a bonus ballistic skill, but the Hellblasters did move last turn, and they're probably going to have to move to get into really good position at the end of that radio tower. So we'll see if I'm able to use the heavy and when I can, but for now it is a 3+. These are Superhuman Ultramarine Adeptus Astartes, Primaris Adeptus Astartes, so 3 pluses to hit. And several fell off, so we have 4 that missed. hopefully those rolls don't continue. It is 7 strength versus a toughness of 5. So the Wing Tyranid Prime is able to lead Tyranid warriors, but he cannot lead Von Ryan's Leapers. So this is going to be the Wing Tyranid Prime. I am going to give him that benefit of cover though, so he's going to have a 3+ save instead of a 4. But first, the Ultramarines have to damage him, so this is 3 pluses to wound. That was a better roll, so just 1 fell off there. And these will be saved by the Tyranid, so I'll switch my dice out here to the purple. So 5 attacks are through. They are -2 to AP, however, so that would bring our Wing Tyranid Prime up to a 6+ save. Usually it does not have an invulnerable save. And in this case, it's going to be a 5+ because of the cover. So here we go. He needs 5s. Couple saves. 3 are through, though. So the Wing Tyranid Prime has taken 3 damage. He is down to 3 wounds, so 2 are saved. I'm just checking there. He's got 6 wounds, so he's down to 3 wounds, and it is 1 damage per. So he will continue to fight on, and the Hellblasters have done their shoot. Okay, so that Ultramarine turn is done. Their shoot phase has concluded. The Wing Tyranid Prime is down to 3 wounds. I actually double-checked just to make sure, and the intercessors here, there were 3 that had line of sight and range to fire into the termagants, and they were able to kill 3. So as the flesh borers are great space marine killers, or we will find out if they are, the bolt rifle is very good at killing termagants. So there's a lot of them, but if they continue to sustain fire like that from the Ultramarines, it's going to be pretty tough to survive those. So it's going back over to the Tyranid now, and we're going to do their move. A lot of them are pissed off from what just happened, and there's going to be a lot of Tyranid models in range for, I think, both hand-to-hand combat possibly and ranged attacks. So I'll do their move. I'm going to go calculate and see what kind of range they have, and if we need to roll, we'll do that and see what the Ultramarine casualties are in return. All right, so Tyranid have moved, and it's a big difference this time. The Termagants, entire section, have these 5 intercessors in range, so they're going to be firing with all of their flesh borers. Luckily, it's not multiple attacks, so that's going to be, how many did they lose their last turn? 3, so it's going to be 17 shots coming in, though. It's going to have to be saved. The Trigon has come out from behind the tower and is loping down upon the intercessors over here and over to the Hellblasters as well. The Wing Tyranid Prime has hidden behind the Prometheum tank, so it is in cover. And the Von Ryan's Leapers' heads might just be poking up, but they do have benefit of cover there if the Hellblasters are able to shoot at them next turn. But first things first, we're going to take care of the Termagant shoot. So I'm going to do that off camera, roll all that stuff, come back and show you guys what's happened to our Ultramarine intercessors over here. So luckily that ballistic skill is a 4+, very similar to my guardsmen for the Termagants. So a few fell off, but with 17 shots, I think 8 went through, and then almost all of those wounded. So 7 or 8 wounded. They were able to kill one of the Ultramarines, so there are now 4 intercessors remaining in the squad. This squad is also locking in Oath of Moment against these Termagants. So this turn, they're going to be moving and you know what? I think I'm going to keep them there because the bolt rifle is heavy, so it's going to give them an even better shot of their ballistic skill to hit roll. But the Oath of Moment is going to soup up their ballistic skill, so their hit roll is going to be, it doesn't add to their ballistic skill, but it helps their hit roll, and then it will also help their wound roll because they are a Codex specific Ultramarine chapter, and they're the ones that wrote the Codex. So good old Rabute, their Primarch, was the one that wrote the Codex. They're definitely Codex compliant, and they will be able to get a ton of bonuses. Might roll that in the tray, we'll see. But I'm going to be moving here too with the Space Marines. It's back over to their turn, so I've got to do some strategy here, make sure that they all have lines of sight, that the proper weapons are aimed on the right Tyranid models, and that I don't get into hand-to-hand combat or within hand-to-hand combat range, because if the Wing Tyranid Prime and those Von Ryan's Leapers can jump in and take the initiative for hand-to-hand, not going to be a good scenario. So I'm going to step back, do a little bit of strategy here for the Ultramarines, and then come back and show you guys their move. Ultramarine move is done. The intercessors on the right flank did not move, so they're going to get the heavy bonus. I'm going to probably roll their stuff in the tray there just to show you guys how Oath of Moment works and how incredibly amazing that is as an ability. Up here, the Hellblasters and the Relic Shield Captain moved to the front of the tower, so they're not going to get the heavy ability right now, but next turn they will, because this is probably as far as I want to put them. They also have the Winged Tyranid Prime in line of sight and also in range, so they're going to be putting all of their weapons on that. That will be their Oath of Moment. And then this unit here, my intercessors on the left flank, have the gargoyles, or not the gargoyles, the Von Rein's Leapers in line of sight and in range. That's going to be their Oath of Moment, so we're going to be getting a whole bunch of bonuses here for the Ultramarines, and having them as a Codex specific chapter is going to be fantastic. I was thinking about using these guys as well to fire on the Winged Tyranid Prime, but you guys can see they don't have line of sight. They can see kind of like a flappy wing. That's about it. So we're going to move over to the tray here. I'm not going to roll every single roll for the Space Marines. I definitely want to roll this section here to get kind of their revenge on those termagants and see how many shots and hits and wounds they can actually do. So we'll do that in the tray. I'll roll everything else off camera and then come back and show you guys how many Tyranid have been slain by the Ultramarines. Okay, so over to the dice tray for the Ultramarines shoot phase. I just wanted to cover Oath of Moment, which is a faction ability for the Adeptus Astartes. So if your army faction is Adeptus Astartes, which the Ultramarines are, at the start of your command phase, select one unit from your opponent's army. Until the start of your next command phase, that enemy unit is your Oath of Moment target. Each time a model with this ability makes an attack that targets your Oath of Moment target, you can reroll the hit. And then if you are using a Codex Space Marine detachment and your army does not include one or more units with the Black Templar, Blood Angel, Dark Angel, Death Watch, or Space Wolves keywords, add 1 to the wound roll as well. So those chapters I just mentioned do not abide by the Codex written by Rabute Gilliman, at least not in its entirety. So they do not get that extra add 1 to wound roll. So we are going to be rolling here in a sec, and I will be able to re-roll the hit roll. And since these guys are the writers of the Codex, Rabute Gilliman, their Primarch wrote that, they're going to be able to get the full benefit of Oath of Moment. And I'm going to roll that now for you guys. Just wanted to cover that. Okay, so here's the roll. Oath of Moment is locked in for my right flank Ultramarines firing on the termagants. I wanted to use all of the bolt profiles because the bolt rifle profiles, I'm having trouble talking today, because the grenade launcher in here, they don't have one. But if you use the grenade launcher, you lose that heavy ability. So this is going to be hitting on a 2+, and I can re-roll this hit roll because of Oath of Moment. So we're looking for 3s. Didn't get a couple, so there's a 2 and a 1. I'm going to re-roll those. I'll just move these over to the side so they're not going to get hit. 3s again. Actually, it's 2s. Ooh, because it's heavy. So 1 did count. Holy shit, I'm re-rolling that. Fuck. Okay, so now that Oath of Moment has been covered, we're going to move on to the shoot. So this is my Intercessor Squad on the right flank firing at the Termagant Squad, which is their Oath of Moment target. So it is heavy. They have not moved. And I'm using the bolt rifle profile here, so I'll be able to reroll the hits, and it's hitting on a 2+. So everything's gone. I don't need to use the Oath of Moment there. That's amazing. It is a strength 4 versus a toughness of 3. So this is going to be 3s to wound. So I can add 1 to the weapon skill. So that becomes a 3. That becomes a 3. Those 2 are 2s. They do not work. But these are through. It is a -1 to AP. And that is going to bring the Termagants up to a 6+ save, which is absolutely fantastic. And I'll do that in just a sec. So we have 2, 4, 6, 3, 6. Switching the dice out here just to make sure that we're differentiating between them. So these are 5s. Pluses usually with the -1 to AP, it's going to be a 6+. And one did save. However, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 more dead termagants in that shoot. I'm going to be moving over to my other Ultramarines. I'll roll that off camera, come back and show you guys what they've done. And the Trigon is going to become a bit of a worry for me because I do not have anyone firing at him yet. When these other smaller models are gone, however, though, I can hopefully focus all my firepower on the Trigon and take him down. But the Tyranid still have quite a little force there, and I don't want to trifle too much with them. So let's see how it goes. I'll be rolling, come right back, show you guys what happens and how many more Tyranid are dead. Okay, so our Ultramarine shoot phase is done. Pretty damn good with that Oath of Moment locked in. The Intercessors on the right flank, you saw, took care of some termagants, so that section has been reduced by 8. So they're down to 12 from their original 20. The Hellblasters were all able to fire. They killed the Winged Tyranid Prime, so that is the end of the Tyranid Warlord. Looking good so far with this shoot. And then I finally did the final shoot phase with these Intercessors on the left flank. I used the frag grenade launcher, did not fire. The Oath of Moment hit bonus didn't help either, so that did not fire. But the remaining Ultramarines with their bolt rifles did fire, and they were able to kill one of the Von Rein's Leapers. So 3 wounds were delivered to that section, and it is gone. I am going to bed. I'm slurring my words and messing stuff up. I'm exhausted. It was a busy day at work. Going to be another crazy one tomorrow, and I'm up, I think, at about 4:45 to get downtown for a 6:30 start. So I'm going to pack it up for now. But as always, for me, it'll probably be about 20 hours, 22 hours. For you guys, it'll be a couple of seconds. The magic of film and the magic of editing and the illusion of time. But it is going to be moving back over to the Tyranid when I return tomorrow night. These guys are far from done, and I want to see what they can do because the terrain is getting closer and closer here, or I should say the models are getting closer and closer. You see what I mean, guys? I'm exhausted. But yeah, the models are getting closer and closer, so we're going to see if some hand-to-hand combat can happen here. That Trigon is still at full wounds, and it's able to do some pretty crazy hand-to-hand. And the Termagants will be moving in to try to take out those Primaris that just killed a bunch of their little buddies. And the Hive Mind's pissed off, and we're going to see what they do. So I'll see you guys in a couple seconds, but for me, it'll be almost a day. Bye for now. We are back. It's been almost 24 hours for me, for you guys, a couple of seconds. Another hell of a day at work. Stuck in traffic for 2 hours on the way home due to some big accidents. I hope everybody was okay in those, but holy shit. You know what helps out, though, at the end of a stressful day? Some Warhammer. So here we go. The Tyranid have just moved. I will sum up what happened there. So the Termagants have moved up their 6 inches. They're going to be putting all of their flesh borers down on the Primaris Marines that are here. The Von Rein's Leapers have jumped up and have locked themselves into hand-to-hand combat with the Hellblaster and the Captain. That's to kind of lock those up so they're not able to shoot, hopefully, next turn and maybe kill a few models. And then over here, we have the Trigon that is going to be using its ranged attack on the 5 Ultramarines on the left side of the frame. So I'm going to do that off camera, come back, show you guys what happened. I might actually roll the hand-to-hand combat on camera. It would be kind of cool to see what the Von Rein's Leapers do, so I think we'll do that. I will roll the Termagants off camera, though, and the Trigon, so we'll do the shoot first. I'll sum all that up, and then we'll move on to the hand-to-hand and see what happens there. All right, be back in a sec. Tyranid shoot phase is done. Not a great turn for them. The Trigon was not able to do any wounds. The Ultramarines made all their saves. It did get about 3 or 4 attacks through, but they were able to save that with that amazing 3+ power armor save. And then over here, the entire 12 Termagant section that remains fired into the Primaris here. And there was 1 wound delivered to the Ultramarine at the top there. And again, tons of saves. The power armor is pretty damn good. Those flesh borers have a nice little strength of 5, but there's no AP with that. I'd say if I've said it before, if those flesh borers had a -1 to AP, which I think they used to have actually in 9th edition, be a lot more devastating. And then the Trigon too with that ranged attack. We now move on to the hand-to-hand combat. This is going to be the Von Rein's Leapers with the initiative, so I'm going to be jumping over to the tray to do that. And yeah, we'll see how it goes. I'm not sure if they're going to be able to kill every single Marine here. That is still 12 attacks from them, so we'll see how it goes. And then the Ultramarines that survive and the captain will be able to fight back. So over to the tray, and we'll figure out how that goes. Okay, here we go. So the Tyranid Force, it does have quite a few hand-to-hand combat models there. The Winged Tyranid Prime, which went down pretty early, and then the Von Rhein's Leapers. They aren't at full strength, but there's still 2 of them. They have 6 attacks apiece, so that is going to be 12 attacks, which can still do quite a bit of damage. This time it is strength 5, and it is -1 to AP, so a pretty good Primaris Marine killer. They are going to be hitting on a 3+, so let's see how that goes. Oof. Quite a few fell off there for the Tyranid. So remove those. It is strength 5, toughness 4. It's going to be 3s to wound. Wow. Not a very good roll for the Tyranid this time. So there is 4 attacks that are through, -1 AP. Switch over to the red dice here for that. So this puts the save of the Hellblasters from a 3+ to a 4+. And they were able to kill 1 Marine with that. So 2 were saved. However, 3-1 not high enough. So one of those Hellblaster Marines has been slain. And I am going to go over and just remove that model. And I will then do the Ultramarine counterattack in the next roll in the tray. So I'll be right back for that. Okay, so the Ultramarines have lost one of their Hellblasters. They are pissed off. They're ready to fight back here. They also have 12 attacks with the 4 remaining models, and then the captain will have to come in after that. So if the Von Rhein's Leapers survive this, we're going to see what that Relic Shield captain can do. So this is also hitting on 3+. Much better roll for the Ultramarines. The Emperor is watching. The Emperor protects. Strength 4, though, against toughness 5. They are going to need 5s to wound here. And quite a few through there. That guy is not. Actually, more fell off. I thought those 4s were 5s. So we have 4 attacks that are through. It is a 0 to AP, and that has the Von Rhein's Leapers. You know what? I'll switch to purple dice with the regular 4+ save. And actually, 1 lost 2 wounds, and then 2 were saved. So we have 1 Von Rhein's Leaper down to 1 wound. I'm just going to flip that dice over so that's reflected. I forget that stuff super quick, so I want to make sure that it's covered. There we go. And now we're going to see what the Relic Shield captain can do. Pretty good hand-to-hand combat weapon. It is a mastercrafted power weapon, so it is 6 attacks coming in from the captain alone. And that is going to be hitting on 2+ this time because he is a captain. All of those are through. It is strength 5 versus toughness 5, so 4s to wound. And 50% fell off there. So 3 wounds are through. However, this is the big one. It is -2 to AP. That brings the Von Rhein's Leaper up to that 6+ invulnerable save that they have. And let's see how they do. Looking for 6s here for the Tyranid. And all 3 wounds are through. So there is 1, 2, 3. So 1 Von Rhein's Leaper has 1 wound remaining, and the other has been slain. It's going to be back over to the Ultramarines here in a sec, and we're going to see what they do. And this is the battlefield right now. So we just saw those Von Rhein's Leapers get their asses kicked. They were able to kill 1 Hellblaster. The Space Marines currently have only lost 2 models. So they lost an Intercessor down here, and they lost 1 of the Hellblasters. The Tyranid have lost many more models, 2 Von Rhein's Leapers, the Winged Tyranid Prime, and several Termagants. I'm not going to be moving my Ultramarines because I want them to get that heavy ability, which is for all of their weapons, except I believe the Relic Shield Captain. So I'm going to be using that heavy ability to have the bolt rifles and heavy plasma blasters go into everything. I think I'm going to put the Hellblaster unit onto the Trigon because they do have that higher strength with the weapon. And then I'm going to see if maybe the captain can take a pot shot and finish off that last Von Rhein's Leaper. And then the intercessors down here will be firing into the Termagants to hopefully take out more of them. We've got the Oath of Moment locked in too. So this unit here, Oath of Moment Termagants, these Hellblasters, Oath of Moment Trigon, Relic Shield Captain, Oath of Moment Von Rhein's Leaper, and the intercessors over here, Oath of Moment as well versus the Trigon. So right now it's looking like this is probably going to go Ultramarine, but that Trigon is still here. It still has full wounds. It has a very high toughness. Ranged attack, really good melee. So we'll see how it goes. But I'm going to roll all that off camera. I'll come back and let you guys know what's happened to the Tyranid. So pretty damn good round of shooting from the Ultramarines. I wouldn't expect any less. The Hellblasters fired into the Trigon and took some wounds off of it. The crack grenade launcher that's down here, the underslung grenade launcher on the bolt rifle from one of the Intercessors fired in, took another wound. The remaining bolt rifles were not able to penetrate even with the Oath of Moment extra rolls, but that's okay. The Trigon is down to 10 wounds. I double checked just in case, but the Relic Shield Captain does have a heavy bolt pistol, so it's got a little bit better like armor penetration, so I wanted to make sure that that was correct. Tried to fire at the Von Rein's Leaper, but the Oath of Moment there as well, the roll just wasn't high enough to be able to wound it, so it is still alive. And then it was down here, the grenade launcher fired a frag in, and then also the bolt rifles all fired, all wounded, all hit. And the Termagants are now down from 20 to 6 models. So they've lost 14. It is going back over here to the Tyranid now. The Trigon might be in range there. It has a 10-inch move, so if it's getting into hand-to-hand combat with those Intercessors, it's going to be tricky. The Von Rein's Leaper is probably going to be trying to hop up there again to tie up the Relic Captain or Relic Shield Captain with Hellblasters. And then the Termagants down here are going to continue to fire for as long as they can to try to wound and kill the Ultramarines on the left of the frame there. So let's see how this goes. I'm going to do their move. I will come right back, show you what I have done there, and then we will get over to the tray if needed, or I might just roll that off camera and speed this one up. So far, amazing. I love that old school. I know I mentioned at the start, Battle of Macragge. I know that the 10th edition is also, Ultramarines versus Tyranid and all the videos and all the box sets and stuff. But I love that old school paint job. I still do them that way. So they have the Smurf blue with the yellow flash on the shoulders there. Red helmeted sergeants. It's pretty sick. They're pure Codex, and it makes sense because they wrote it. So here we go. Anyways, Battle of Macragge, nice snowy tundra, and we'll see who's going to take this one. I have a feeling it's going to be over in the next few turns, but who knows? We'll see what happens. Over to those Tyranid for their move. Okay, so the Tyranid move is done. I just switched out my wireless mic too. I just want to try this one. So I do some other projects. I actually shoot a Survivor Ottawa LRG, so a live reality game, which is just like the show on CBS. I actually have some contestant interviews this coming weekend, so trying out my wireless mics just to see how they sound through the G70 Canon camera here. So thank you guys for letting me kind of test that out. I hope the audio is still good. I'll figure it out during editing, but I'm hoping it sounds okay. So the Termagants did move up. They're 6 inches just to get a little bit closer. It doesn't really give them a bonus or anything, but maybe they'll roll better if they're a little bit closer. We'll have to see. The Von Rein's Leaper, as planned, jumped in to lock in again with those Hellblasters. It might still be able to take 1 down, maybe 2. It's got 6 full attacks. It has 1 wound, but we'll see how that goes. And then all of those Ultramarines will be able to counterattack if they are still alive. And then down here, a bit of a problem for these Intercessors. The Trigon has locked into hand-to-hand combat with them. I think I'm going to roll that one in on camera. So we'll do the shoot. I'll do the hand-to-hand combat with the Von Rein's Leaper off camera, and then I'll start it back up again to see how the Trigon does against the Intercessors. And if the Intercessors do survive, they are going to be able to fight back, but the Trigon is pretty damn good in hand-to-hand combat, so we'll see how that goes. But over to the tray now. I'm going to be rolling for the Termagants and see how they do on the shoot. And then the Von Rein's Leaper, get everything in the tray there for the Trigon, and then I'll come back and sum everything up in one go. So hold on, and we'll be right over to the tray in a second. Okay, I lied. We're going to sum up that shoot first, just so I don't forget anything. So the Termagants fired into the Intercessors. They were able to kill that lone Ultramarine that had the 1 wound. Now they're open to fire back from the Ultramarines that are angry now and are probably going to take care of business. The Von Rein's Leaper was able to wound 1 Hellblaster, the one closest to the bottom of the frame there. And then the remaining Hellblasters were able to counterattack The captain with Relic Shield was not needed, and they were able to vanquish the Von Rein's Leaper, so it is dead. Over here, we are going to roll right now, probably the hand-to-hand combat battle of the game. The Trigon versus the Captain will be very cool too, but I don't know if that's going to happen. We'll see if the Hellblasters put a lot of good shots in on this thing. But it might keep kicking. It's still got that very high toughness, and we'll see how it does here in hand-to-hand combat against 5 Primaris Ultramarines. So over to the tray, and let's see how the Trigon does. Okay, so it's time to see how this Trigon does. It has 12 attacks, which is the same as those 2 Von Rein's Leapers in the last couple turns. 12 attacks by itself. So these are the Trigon Scything Talons. They are hitting on a 3+. Wow. Wow. No rerolls allowed, so that was not good. Wow, like 75, 80% fell off. So we got 4 through. It is strength 9 versus toughness 4, however, so 2s to wound. Another one fell off. Jeez Louise. -2 to AP, so that's 3 attacks. Brings our Intercessor Marines up to a 5+. They do not have an invulnerable. Ugh, not a great roll for the Ultramarines. So usually they'd be able to save this kind of stuff. Not the case this time, and it's 3 damage per that's gone through. So we have 3, 6, 9. They have 10 wounds in total, so the Sergeant remains with 1 wound left. He is going to be able to counterattack here in a second, but that Trigon has done very well in hand-to-hand combat and taken out that Intercessor Squad. So the Sergeant does not have a chainsword of any type, so it's going to be 3 dice for the close combat weapon. So it's hitting on a 3+. And I can re-roll that with Oath of Moment. So all are through. It is strength 4, however, versus toughness 10. It's going to need 6s here. And those are actually +1 to wound, so those are both through. It is 0 AP, so our Trigon is going to have a 3+ save. Save both of them. So that combat is done. The Trigon has taken care of a full unit of Intercessors and left only the Sergeant with 1 wound. So the battle is not over yet, and I got to stop getting ahead of myself. So we'll see how this one goes. All right, so there is the aftermath of that one. The Trigon has done a number on those Intercessors. The Sergeant kind of was able to dodge back a little bit, and the Trigon kind of got stumbled maybe. So it is still going. It still has 10 wounds. However, the Ultramarines are now going to put all of their focus on it. So we have the Hellblasters as well as the Relic Captain or Relic Shield Captain. And then the 3 Intercessors over here remaining are going to be firing at the Termagants. So I'm going to lock in an Oath of Moment right here. There's going to be an Oath of Moment right here from the unit of Hellblasters to the Trigon. And then we're also going to have our Sergeant firing as well at the Trigon. So we'll see how it goes. It does have that crazy high toughness. It's probably going to be the last model on the field. And if it does get back into hand-to-hand combat, we'll see what happens. So still quite a bit of fight left for these Tyranid. But I'm going to do their move there, the Ultramarines, and probably the shoots off camera, come back and show you guys. So I'll just probably swing my Hellblasters around here. I will lose the heavy ability with that, but they're all going to have the Trigon in range, and then I'll fire with the Intercessors down here at the Termagants, and come back and sum all that up in one go. Okay, so the Ultramarine shoot phase is just concluded. The Intercessors down here with that Oath of Moment again, absolutely devastating. So a couple of rolls fell off for the hit, got them on the second roll, and then for the wound, everything was through. They were able to kill 4 more Termagants, so there's only 2 remaining. Those 2 are going to keep blasting away with their flesh borers for as long as they can. Over here is what was crazy. The Intercessor Sergeant, who remains down here, fired in. Nothing happened to the Trigon. The entire line of Hellblasters fired in. 1 wound was allocated to the Trigon. It still has 9. And then the heavy bolt pistol of the Relic Shield Captain fired in, and it was not able to wound. It did hit, but was not able to wound. So the Trigon, with 9 full wounds, definitely has those Hellblasters and the Captain in range. I think you guys know what I'm going to do, so I'll just do that now. This is the Tyranid move. They are in hand-to-hand combat. I don't want him to jump up on the wall and fall off. Well, maybe I can pop him up here. There, that looks a bit better. So I'll keep the 9 wounds down there. So the Hellblasters are now facing the Trigon with the Relic Shield Captain, so all of them are in hand-to-hand combat. The Relic Shield Captain does have a pretty good hand-to-hand combat weapon, but the Trigon does have the initiative there. We saw what it did to the Intercessors earlier, so fingers crossed that those Hellblasters can survive. But if you are cheering for the Hive Mind and for the Tyranid, you want that Trigon to cut all of these Ultramarines in half, and that will leave the lone Intercessor down here and the 3 Intercessors over here. So I'm going to be doing the Termagant shoot off camera, come back, sum that up super quick, see if any Marines got killed or wounded, and then the Trigon, definitely going to roll that one in the tray. One of those super cool, dramatic, last model, most likely rolls. So I'll do that in the tray in just a sec after I sum up the shoot. But gotta go roll that first, and I'll be right back to show you guys the shoot for the Termagants. Okay, so no real need to turn on the camera there for the Termagants' turn. They fired, 1 was able to fire, none were able to wound, and the 2 Termagants remain against the 3 Intercessors face to face. This is what everyone wanted to see, though. It is the Trigon with those 12 attacks. Last time it didn't do great. This time, if it does well, it's going to be a different story. So they're hitting on a 3+. This is against the Hellblaster unit and the Relic Shield Captain. And if enough wounds go through, which is possible, it's 3 damage per that wounds, the Relic Shield Captain is going to have to take that, but the wounds are going to be allocated to the Hellblasters first. So 3+. Wow, another shitty roll. So sorry all you Tyranid fans out there. Lost 2, 4, half of the attacks. Those big chunky dice in the small tray, that's maybe what's doing it. Anyways, it is strength 9 versus a toughness of 4. So this is going to be wounding on 2s. Okay, 1 more fell off. There is a 2 there though, so that's 3, so there's 5. It is -2 to AP. What I'll do is I'll grab red dice just so we're differentiating there. So 5 attacks are through. -2 to AP. The Hellblasters do not have invulnerable, so they're up to a 5+. So 1 was saved. However, there is 3, 6, 9, 12 wounds. So we had 8 remaining there. 2, 4, 6, 8. The Hellblasters have been eliminated. I'm just going to check the Relic Shield Captain there because some of those wounds are going to be falling on him. He is going to be able to fight back though. So let me just bring him up here while we are live. So it's a 4+ invulnerable. So this would actually be, that would be 1 for him. So 2, 4, 6. So we do have 1 Hellblaster still alive. I know that's not the best way to do that, but when we're kind of spreading it across models there, that was all allocated to the Hellblasters. You know what we could do actually, and again, I don't know if this is rules. I'm going to remove all the Hellblasters. There was actually 1 Hellblaster that only had 1 wound, but I'm going to have the Captain at the full 6, and he's going to be able to fight back here in just a sec. So I'm just going to see if he has any cool stats there before I do that, and we'll be right back for the Captain's counterattack. Okay, so again, I've been playing since 2nd edition, and tons of rules jam up in my head. So I know that there's like, if you shoot with a unit, some of the shots fall off if they're being allocated. With a melee, though, it's a whole unit that's fighting. So I think that's fair. I wiped out the Hellblaster Squad. The Captain does have a invulnerable save of 4+, 4 gold. He's okay. So he still has 6 wounds. The Trigon is still alive. The Captain also has something called Finest Hour, which I'm going to be locking in here. So this is once per battle at the start of the fight phase, where we are right now. This model can use this ability. If it does, until the end of the phase, add 3 to the attack's characteristics of melee weapons equipped by this model. So he usually has, with the Mastercrafted Power Weapon, 2 damage. In this case, it will be 5 damage that goes through there. 3 to the attack. So he usually has 6. It's going to be 9. So much better chance of hitting here. So we're going to get to that right now. So this is the Captain with Relic Shield versus the Trigon We're going to see how he does here. 9 attacks instead of 6 because of Finest Hour being locked in. It is hitting on a 2+. And I can reroll if needed with the Oath of Moment because they locked that in at the start. All are through. That is a really crazy ability. That's almost like the Nurgle's Gift. Holy Dinah. Maybe the Ultramarines should have been taken on the Death Guard instead of the Blood Angels. Sorry, Blood Angels fans. If you guys want to check that one out too, it's a couple videos ago. Blood Angels versus Death Guard at the very beginning of the Fight Force 4. So this is Strength 5 against Toughness 10. So it's going to be 6 to wound. I can add 1. So a lot of these fell off. This Trigon is super high toughness. It doesn't have an invulnerable save, but it does have that. So these 2 are through. So this becomes a 6. He needed a 6. So that's 1 added to the wound roll because of Oath of Moment. So 2 are through. I'm going to roll now with the Trigon. It is a -2 to AP. So that brings the Trigon up to a 5+. And both are through. It is 2 damage per. So 2 4 wounds have been delivered to the Trigon. And it is down to 5 wounds. It's still in the fight, but it is hurting. There is, however, not many models left with a very high strength to be able to take it out. So we're going to see how this goes. It is back over to the Space Marines, however, and I got to get a hell of a strategy going here to see if I can kill this thing. It might just be getting that Relic Shield Capt right back into hand-to-hand and taking the initiative, but I'll check out my options, do some moves, and then come back and show you guys what the Ultramarines have done on the table. Okay, so the easy call here is those Primaris Intercessors are going to be firing into the remaining Termagants, hopefully taking them out this turn. The other stuff I had to think about here for a couple seconds was to make sure that I take this Trigon out. So I've rushed both the Primaris Sergeant and the Relic Shield Captain into hand-to-hand combat. There's only Strength 4 weapons right now with that heavy bolt pistol and the bolt rifle against a toughness of 10. Not going to cut it. But the Captain there seemed to do some pretty good damage last turn with his Relic Power Weapon, so we're going to use that again. I'm going to do the shoot here off camera really quick for this side of the table. Come back, sum that up super fast, or maybe just give you guys a recap on the camera if those Ultramarines were able to kill the Termagant, and then I'm going to be definitely rolling this one in the camera just to show the size comparison here. You've got a Captain with brass cojones and his sergeant going right in against a massive Trigon. We're going to see how this goes, and this battle is it's super tight right now, super close. I was thinking there for a sec with those Hellblasters still fresh and alive, they'd be able to take this thing out, but the Trigon getting that close, that fast 10-inch movement, it was able to whip right into hand-to-hand combat and take them out. So now it is up to the Warlord of the Ultramarines, our Relic Shield Captain, and the Sergeant to take this thing out. So shoot first, sum that up, come back, hand-to-hand combat in the trait, and be back in a sec. Okay, so just going to sum up there. The shoot just finished for the Intercessors against the Termagants. The Termagants were wiped out. Ultramarines got some fantastic rolls. All the hits went through and pretty much 80% wounded. And the Termagant were not able to save. They made 1 save out of that. So they are gone, which frees up those Intercessors if needed to hop over to help out the Captain and Sergeant, who we're rolling for right now. So this is the Ultramarine Sergeant, rolling him first against the Trigon. Close combat weapon, 3 attacks, 3+ to hit. All through. 4 strength versus toughness 10, needs 6s. That is through because of Oath of Moment. That's the only model over there, so the Oath of Moment's definitely been called, so that's a 6. And the Trigon has to make a 3+ save. There's no AP with that. And it didn't. Wow. So 1 damage. I'm just going to go over, switch the token over for the Trigon. It is now down to 4 wounds. And this is it. If the Captain can take it out here, the Ultramarines come away with the victory. I did, however, use the Finest Moment. I think it was called Finest Moment. Let me just go back. Yeah, Finest Hour. I did use that last time, so that is no longer in play. But he does have his Master Crafted Power Weapon, which we still need some lucky rolls here, but I think with Oath of Moment, we'll be able to to get that going. So this is 6 attacks instead of 9. We had that finest hour last time to soup that up. Hitting on 2 pluses though, incredible. This is a captain. He has hundreds of battles under his belt, so very good in both hand-to-hand and in range. Looking for 2s. Ooh, spin, spin. And this guy I can re-roll. And he got it. That's an amazing, amazing ability. So it is strength 5 versus toughness 10. So 6s are needed here, but I can add 1 to those wound rolls. So if we have 5s, they turn into 6s. So let's see how that goes. There we go. Another huge helpful roll. So those are all 6s. They've all gone through. It is -2 to AP, which has the Trigon up to a 5+ save. It does not have that invulnerable, so we're looking for 5s here for the Trigon. Oh shit. Save 2. This one is through though. He has taken 2 more damage. This is coming down to the wire again. Wow. So the Trigon is still alive with 2 wounds, and it is now going to be able to fight back with those 12 attacks against the captain. I'm going to be allocating this against the captain, and of course if any wounds spill over, that's going to go on to the sergeant, who has, does he have 1 wound? I don't remember. Let me see. Yeah, who only has 1 wound. So our captain has 6, sergeant has 1 left out of the 2 original that they start with. The Trigon Scything Talons are 12 attacks hitting on a 3+. Been rolling kind of crap for most of the game with that. This is a little bit better, but you'd think a 3 wouldn't be too tough. So 5 fell off there. So we have 7 through. It is strength 9 though. Big, strong creature against a toughness of 4. So this is going to be 2s to wound. And that is a 2. So I'm just going to pull that out. So all of those have wounded. The other good kind of strategy behind this is the captain does have that invulnerable. So usually the sergeant would be having to make a 5+. In this case, the captain is making 4+. So here we go. It is, however, 3 damage per that gets through, and that is going to leak over to the sergeant if the captain does not save all of these. So here we go. Looking for 4+. Wow, a damn good roll. I'm rolling really well for the Imperium in this game. Holy shit. So we have 3 5s, 3 6s. All are saved with that invulnerable 4. 1 did go through. That is 3 damage, but the captain still has 3 wounds remaining. Just going to make sure that that's reflected on his wound dice that I have beside him. So at the end of that one, we have the Trigon with 2 wounds, the Primaris Sergeant with 1 wound, and then the captain taking all those wounds for his sergeant down to 3. So it's back over to the Tyranid though, and the Trigon is going to have initiative this time. So let's see what happens. So this one is a super tight battle. We only have 5 Space Marine models left, all with 2 wounds, except for the sergeant that has 1 and our captain that has 3 from his original 6. These intercessors won't be able to move over because it is the Tyranid turn, and the Trigon is hurting. It's bleeding everywhere, but it is going into hand-to-hand combat with the sergeant and the captain, this time with the initiative. So if I roll well this time with the Trigon and more than, 6 or 7 attacks get through, not good for the Ultramarines, but we're going to go to the tray right now and get this one rolling. So that was pretty huge. The captain did some great wounds to the Trigon, but it is still alive with 2 wounds. It has 12 attacks still hitting on a 3+. And woof, here we go. So still not a great roll. A lot are falling off here. So that's another 5 that did not hit, and 7 that have gone through. So very good for the Ultramarines here. This is going to be directed towards the captain again with that invulnerable. So it is strength 9 attacks versus toughness 4, 2s to wound. And that was much better. So only 1 fell off. It is 6 attacks through. So I'll just get the dice here so we can get the correct. So -2 to AP would usually bring the captain or a Primaris up to a 5+, but he has a 4+ invulnerable, so looking for 4s here. Uh-oh. So he did save 4. However, 2 have gone through. That is 3 6 wounds. So that means the sergeant and the captain have both fallen to the Trigon. The 3 intercessors are all that remains, and that Trigon has 2 wounds. So let's see how this goes. Okay, so there are 3 Intercessor Ultramarines remaining. I'm going to actually move them while on camera. So I've got my 6 inches out here. That's right on the Acheran sign, Achilles, however you want to say it. So they're moving up there. There is a grenade launcher left, which is going to be super important because we need that crack grenade that has the higher strength of these weapons. They are in line of sight of the Trigon, and they're going to be shooting right away. If they are not able to kill it here, it is most likely in range to get into hand-to-hand combat with them and most likely finish them off. The Trigon has been softened up a lot. It only has 2 wounds remaining from the captain and the sergeant and the intercessors that went before them. And then let's see if these 3 Ultramarines can finish this off. What a fight. These 2 forces are almost made to like break even. It's awesome. And the Trigon, not a bad model. Cheaper on the point side, I can tell, because it doesn't have that invulnerable save, but it's still got some wicked hand-to-hand and a pretty good ranged attack too. So if I wanted to, I could probably do the range as well, but its strength is in hand-to-hand. So over to the Ultramarines first. I'm going to be rolling that in the tray, and we'll see if they can finish this thing off. Okay, so now more than ever, that Oath of Moment is going to be huge. They have locked it in against the Trigon. That is their new unit that they're trying to kill. I'm firing a crack grenade out of the Astartes grenade launcher. This is hitting on a 3+, which I can reroll. I got the 3, so that's great. It's strength 9 versus toughness 10, so that is going to be 5 to wound, and I can add 1 to the hit roll here. Not enough. So 3 turns into 4, not high enough to penetrate. Shit. And I didn't use the bolt rifle profile, so I didn't get those 2 shots. It was 1 with the crack. However, the 2 others do have the bolt rifle, so they're going to be hitting on a 3+, because I did not do the heavy. They just moved, so they're not able to lock in the heavy ability. But I can reroll these, so 3+. All are through. Strength 4, though, versus toughness 10. We need 6s here to wound. I can add 1 to the wound roll. Not enough. Not looking good, guys. That Trigon, I think, is going to be jumping right into hand-to-hand. Those intercessors tried their best against this massive, like, 20-foot creature. So I'm going to measure that right now and show you guys what comes of it. So it's not over until it's over, but right now it's looking not great for the Ultramarines. They have wounded this thing severely. It's down to 2. However, it is getting the initiative here, and it's going to be doing a hand-to-hand combat first. So the Ultramarines really tried. I was hoping if we could have got the rolls there, I think this thing would have been dead, especially with that crack grenade. It does some really good AP. Even the bolt rifles with the -1 would have taken this thing up to a 4+. I think there probably could have been a kill there from that, but that was not the case. If the Tyranid win this one, they're the first force that has gone back-to-back for the Fight Force 4. But we still have to roll here, so over to the tray. We'll see what the Trigon does, and we'll see if those Ultramarines can fight back. Okay, so this might be it. It might not be it. The Trigon is getting 12 attacks. It does have a damaged profile, though, so when it's 1 to 5 wounds remaining, there is a subtract 1 from the hit rolls. That could affect us here. So it's going to be hitting on a 4+ instead of a 3+. And the time that it needs it, it still had a lot fall off, but there are 4s there. So 5, once again, 5 didn't hit, 7 are through with that 4+. Strength 9 versus toughness 4 for these intercessors. 2 to wound, let's see what happens. Oy, oy, oy. So we have 6 through. And let's see if these Marines can save it. They do have 2 wounds. Let me just check to be sure. Yeah, they all have 2 wounds remaining, so it's possible they're going to be able to fight back here. We are looking for -2 to AP. It's going to be 5+. Woof. Wow, pretty good roll. They're fighting to the last man. So there were 4 saves made. However, these 2 are through, and that's the end of them. So there's 3 damage, 6 damage, 3 Marines with 2 wounds. The Trigon Scything Talons came right down and messed them up. This is another victory for the Tyranid, and they are the only force, as I just stated, to have gone back-to-back in Fight Force 4. So there is our victor. It was down to 1 Tyranid model left with 2 wounds remaining. It just wiped out those 3 Primaris. If by some chance one had maybe survived, he could have got a lucky roll, done some more damage, maybe got more shots in next turn and killed it. That is not the case. The Tyranid have won against the Ultramarines. Sorry, all you Ultramarines fans, and hooray for all you Tyranid fans. I have to look at my forces now and see what I can put in here against the Trigon, because it seems to be what's holding this together. I'm thinking possibly another Space Marine chapter. The Salamanders are coming to mind. I also put together a Crimson Fists force, Imperial Fists force, and maybe even World Eaters with the Slaughterbound and some 8-bound, but they're armies rounded up by Goremongers and Cultists, so not very strong hand-to-hand. They're called Jackals, sorry, for World Eaters. So I'll have to look at my forces and see what I can bring in here. I also have a Chaos Space Marine army, which might do okay. But yeah, I'll think about that. Thank you guys again so much for watching. It has been a blast. Thank you for listening to me vent a little bit there with work. This is a great way to just relieve that stress, get some Warhammer going, get some rolls going, get some strategy on the table, shoot some content, edit it, put it up. It's my dream. It's amazing. So thank you guys again. Finnigan 40K, Fight Force 4, another Tyranid victory, and we will see you guys next time with a force that I am not sure of yet, but someone will be in here against the Tyranid to hopefully knock them off that hill. So see you guys soon. Bye-bye.